Welcome to Goonies RC. This is the final episode of the Range Rover camera car build. There's going to be a lot happening today, but first Kevin the cameraman's going to get his little monitor and his little joystick so he can control the gimbal camera from inside the car while other vehicles are following. So the first thing we want to do really is get it all back inside the vehicle so we can measure up. Here's Kevin in the car, ready for action. All he needs is his monitor and his joystick to be able to control this camera. I think I'm going to put it low enough so he can look at the camera, but then it looks like he's looking at the back as well, looking at the vehicles. And I think I've got just the thing to make the monitor out of. And here it is. It's a 3D printed resin laptop. I designed it on Fusion 360. I think if we take the keyboard off it, it's going to make a great monitor for Kevin to watch. And it should just fit in there nicely. Somewhere like that. So I've cut the keyboard off. It's going to fit in there quite nice. So what I want to do though is make it like an outrigging monitor for stand for it, so it's not just floating in mid-air there. And I think what I'll do then is incorporate the joystick in to that same stand and it'll look quite professional. I'm just going to use the standard materials you know when you do a bit of scratch building with. Plaster card, bits of wood, anything really, just to pad the area out while I make this little console for him. So what I'll do is I'll just fast forward through this and I'll show you the results, and if there's any important bits I'll stop the video and show you what I'm doing. Here's the first little bit of the console just to show you what I'm doing and where I'm going with it. It's just plaster card glued together and shaped, and then I'll just build it slowly as I go. You can see here I'm just test fitting the little console. I've made it angled so it gives the little Kevin the cameraman there a bit more room to see the monitor and his hand to come out and touch the joystick. The monitor will be there and then the joystick just below it. So here now with the body off, you'll see where I'm going to be mounting this little monitor stand just on the camera holder there. Gives you an idea of where it's going and where I'm going with it. So here we are, it's all glued in now. He's got his monitor and you see he fits quite nicely in there, and his left hand just is placed nice for where the joystick's going to go. So that joystick will, as if he's controlling the gimbal of the camera that goes next to him there. So I'm going to get on and make the joystick. Here we have the little joystick handle. It's been a bit of a pain to file out of plasticard with my hands, but I think it's going to complete the illusion that he is the cameraman, and it'll fit nicely just there. So I'm just using the reamer tool to make a tiny little hole in the bottom of the plasticard and then use a toothpick as the shaft of the joystick. Kevin the cameraman's a happy man now. He's got his monitor, he's got his joystick for controlling the gimbal camera, and now he can direct all his movies from the back of this and control what's going on. He's a happy chap. What I'm doing here is just making the center console slightly larger sort of making it look like it's a control panel that the driver can see, I'll put a laptop on there so it looks like he can see what Kevin the cameraman can see. But in reality, it's just a little bit bigger so I can fit the battery into it. There you go. There's the center console built. Like I say, I'll put a little laptop on there and a few false buttons so it looks like the driver can help the cameraman, Kevin. But actually, that's where the battery will be hidden. A little bit more tidying up, a bit of masking tape, and this thing will be ready to go to paint. It'll be all black, so everything will be hidden. So this is the paint I use. It's high coat. I get it from the range. It's quite cheap. This is the matte black. I'm not going to bother with a primer because it's been painted before. Never had a problem with it. My truck is painted in the same stuff but white. It's a good paint and it's not expensive. So I'm going to give this all a clean off and then get it painted, and we'll be right back. I know this paint on first light looks like it's got a lot of orange peel on it, but the great thing, it's matte paint. Unlike the gloss paints, I don't think it's got the lacquer mix that makes it stay orange peel, so as it dries it'll actually go perfectly flat, like a matte flat finish. So I'm not worried about that. I'm just making sure it's all one uniform colour, which it is. And I've done exactly the same for the interior. Again, looks really shiny and stand out at the moment, but that will dry very matte and it'll just all blend in together. Right, this is just a little bit of indulgence really. I'm lucky enough to have a laser cutter engraver, and I thought I'll put a roof rack on the top of the Range Rover. And what I've done is on the side of the roof racks I've engraved the Facebook, YouTube and Instagram logos on them, and then really specially on the front and rear of the roof rack I've cut my own logo right the way through the wood. So I'm just going to glue it all together using super glue and 1, 2, 3 blocks. If you don't know what 1, 2, 3 blocks are, basically it is 1 inch, 2 inch by 3 inch, and they're all always perfectly flat and perfectly square, and it just helps when you're gluing stuff together to make sure it all stays square. There's always a little bit of fettling to get these to fit, but other than that I'm really chuffed with this little roof rack. I think it's just going to give it a nice little touch at the end there. So the roof rack is finished, bar fitting it to the car, and what I did when I designed it, I left all the legs slightly long because I knew I would have to carve little bits of wood away so it'd sit flush to the Range Rover roof. So that's what I'm going to do next, is mark it up for cutting. This is a test fit. You'll see when I sort of pick it up that the legs are all the same length and it doesn't fit the roof, but I'll use a marker pen, mark up where I need to cut away with the Dremel, and slowly but surely the roof rack will end up fitting flush to the curvature of the Range Rover. I'm going to use a really fine point to draw this curvature onto the roof rack. I'm resting the pen on the roof, and then when I drag the pen across, the curvature of the roof is transferred straight onto the roof rack, and then I'll Dremel that away, and it should then be a really nice close fit to the roof and look like it's meant to be fitted there. So the roof rack now fits nice and flush to the Range Rover. I've sanded it to give it a nice finish, rounded the edges off. I'm going to paint it black, and then we can get on and paint all the logos. That's the matte black on. It went on well. Just sanded between 3 coats. Looks good. and now it's time to paint all the logos. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get myself a little bit of Bob Ross on and have some happy little accents, and hopefully the logos will look quite good once I've done that. Well, my friends, the spirit of Bob Ross was with us. I'm quite happy how that's turned out, actually. I've put a clear coat over the top just to protect the paint. And the Goonies cutout looks really nice. So let's get it glued onto the roof. Really happy with this roof rack. I think it finishes the car off. I'm going to put more decals on with the Goonies RC logo, perhaps across here and maybe on the side as well. I've got to put some more finishing touches like the door handles back on, the grills, the headlights, and then maybe some decals on the bonnet. The interior is almost finished, almost ready to go in. Got a few more things to do. Put the rubber on the camera holder to help the camera stay nice and steady. The dash has got to be fitted back in, the driver. Then I've got to put the little laptop by the driver as well to sort of complete the illusion. Oops, better move that next project plans out the screen there. So, we sorted out the chassis, made the steering better, the suspension better. That's ready to go. The interior is almost finished. I want to put the laptop there so it looks like it's the illusion of he's seeing what the cameraman's seeing, Kevin. The dash has got to go back in. The car's finished, but I'm thinking of removing this one wing mirror. Yeah, let's remove it. I only have one because it's a second-hand car and that wasn't really that good, so we'll take the wing mirrors off. Other than that, it's ready all to go back together. Just the dash to screw back in, the laptop to glue back in, and then we can assemble it and give it a test drive. There you have it, it's back together. It's bound to this radio, ready for test. Just put the radio on. And this is the reason I wanted the switch by the door, because it's easy to get to now. So we just flick the switch and it's on. Easy. I'm happy with the controls. The steering's full lock to lock and fully proportional, nice and smooth. And the throttle, I've set it up so it ramps up really slowly and backwards slowly as well, so it gives a nice smooth acceleration deceleration for when I do camera work. So here we go, it's nice and smooth, steering's nice and smooth. It's not exactly a big space, but I think it does show how smooth it is, and that's what you need when you've got a camera in the back of the car. When I'm trying to do video at the local truck meets and stuff like that, you want it nice and slow and smooth. And here we are, all logoed up. Kevin the cameraman's ready for action. He's got his gimbal camera in there. He's having a bit of practice. I think his driver's given a bit of hard driving there to see how smooth Kevin can be on the controls. And I think it really sells the illusion of when the car moves, and then you'll see the gimbal slowly move around afterwards, like a slow follow mode. And it looks like Kevin's doing it. Good job, Kev. Good job. Well, that's the build finished. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again soon on the next project.